but like, it's bad. It's terrible. And why the fuck does this shit have to happen? It's not cool.
It's all good.
Getting old sucks.
You gotta keep your. I mean, honestly though, like for instance, this is why I love my dad so much. Because if you meet my dad, no one ever thinks my dad's 63 because the way he carries his spirit,
Yeah.
acts very young, and like yeah, there's times where my family's like, "Oh, fucking grow up," but you think he gives a fuck? He's fucking living his life, dude, having fun, doing his thing. So a big reason why I have this fucking kind of way about life is because my dad taught me that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk too much shit about like, family, but I was kind of like. He was kind of raised up where like, everyone had a problem with the way he did things. And you know what I mean? And then I felt like everyone had a problem the way I did things. And at the end of the day, I saw my dad never gave a shit. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Do your thing. At the end of the day, like no one's paying my bills. I'm paying my own bills,
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, as long as you're not, out there killing people or doing
yeah, I'm not killing him.
right. You know what I mean? Like, who gives a shit if you're finding your way and it's working for you? Like, stay in your own lane.
Stay in your own lane. I love it. Fuck. So let me ask you this, Lori, like being so young, like, you're 18, fucking raging, partying it up.
Yeah.
When was Brian more like, hey, I want to make this into a business, what I'm doing? We're about to live off this. Like, when did that happen?
Well, it's funny because he had already, like I said, he already had this collection, and I think he had even made his first, say, investment before during that initial point to where he was, thinking more future with it. And I think we followed. We were really good friends with Mark and Kim Bell, who were one of the first forefront people to actually like quit their. Eugene was the first one, and Mark was not that far behind, to where he literally quit his job and was breeding snakes full time. And we were right there and best friends. So, being that we were in that circle of friends and hanging out, that became a possibility. And basically, honestly, the whole thing with us too is, again, like I told you, we were talking about our thoughts. We wanted a family. I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I grew up a lot of times, my parents were divorced. My mom was a single mom for a good portion. She always had to work. And then, when she got remarried, she had my brother and sister, and I helped with the kids and stuff like that. But I just, in my mind, I always wanted to be home with my kids.
Yeah.
And be able to do that. So, and that was something that, he also, agreed with. So it was kind of one of those things where it worked out to where, we had the collection. We had Jade. I was able to stay at home with my daughter and work the snakes. And then it got to a point where Brian's like, you know what? I'm ready to quit this job and just try this full time.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, let's do it. Like, what I mean? What's the worst? That was the thing. It was like, okay, well, what's the worst that happens? Go get a job again. Like, you know what I mean? And so we kind of just made that jump as we saw people starting to do it. And fortunately, we're able to just figure it out and make it work ever since, as crazy as that is. But then it's funny because I get people all the time, reach out all the time. How could I want to do this for a living? And honestly, I just don't. I don't see that you can do that anymore. That window, like, you know what I mean? It's different. You're not going to be able to pay your bills breeding snakes. Like, you know what I mean?
It could happen, but you got to come in with investment. You can't just like, oh man, I'm gonna put everything on the line and I'm gonna invest everything in. No, you need to have it. You need to have money to keep putting in and putting in.
It is different, exactly, and that's always what we did. And it's funny because we just had this conversation about our 5-year plan, and obviously we've changed because we don't just do BHB. BHB is the minority, honestly, of what we have going on in our lives and in our business. And when people say that I'm like, no, like I don't have any advice for you. Like, no, don't try to just quit your job and breed snakes. Like, that's probably not going to work for you, because that it's a whole different world. Like, the world when we did it doesn't exist anymore. It's a whole different thing.
And then put it like this. Now you're okay. Let's say you want to do that. Guess what stresses you out now? Breeding snakes. Now you're stressed out all the time because now you're like, fuck, I hope I get this.
It's not your hobby. It's not, it's not fun. It's like, oh my God, if I don't hit this, I can't pay my rent. Like, you know what I mean? So like,
oh God, that's so right. It's like people, that's why people really need to get their heads out of the clouds when it comes to stuff like that and thinking, you know, they do look at the Miguels and Justin Cabelkas and, you know, Aussies and think like, oh, wow, like, well, I could just get the snakes they got and do it. It just doesn't work.
But this is the thing though, right? Okay, I don't know everybody, but Miguel and Ozzy, they have more going on.
You could take, you might not have to use those. You want to disconnect them and not use them?
Well, I can't hear you without them.
No, wait, but they're connected to the laptop, right?
Yeah.
Like can't you turn off wirelessly and just go off your laptop speakers because your laptop has speakers? Does that make sense? Unless you want to keep fucking dealing with what you're dealing with, I just feel bad because you're like fucking fumbling shit. So,
well, I don't know if it'll be too if you'll get, will you get more background music or background noise?
I don't think you will because it's. I mean, all is right. Watch, just try it because that way we could get Lori.
Yeah, I know. I'm the worst. I hate technology. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
All right.
Thanks for everyone tuning in. This is amazing. Comments are blowing up. Everyone's happy to be here.
Are they?
Yeah. Got everyone showing love. Ooh, we got $10 in the bucket. Oh, look at that. What up? What up with the super chats for Lori? Drop some super chats, and then I'll display your comment. Ooh, look at Lily up in the building. Not my wife. This is Lily N. Lily, drop some money too. Where's my wife? Drop some money, Lily. Happy holidays, Lily. And then happy holidays, House of Exotics. Happy holidays, everybody. All right, can you hear us? Okay, oops. Okay, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. I think you muted yourself.
I did, because you don't want to hear what I have to say.
All right. How's that?
All right.
You sound good? All right, cool. Fuck your headphones. No offense. Now you're yeah. Okay. So, all right. So now going back to what I was saying, you know, of you know, Brian already kind of having his plan and it just moving forward, right? So like, you know, what we were saying basically is nowadays it just doesn't happen where you just say, I'm going to become a ball python breeder, fuck everything else, because that's just like, why not make more money if you can, right? That doesn't
work. That's what I was saying is, like you said, the Justins and the Aussies and the Miguels. The truth of the matter is, I don't know Justin, but I know Miguel and Ozzy have other things going on besides breeding ball pythons. That's not their sole income. Like, right. You know what I mean? And I don't know about Justin, but the reality is most really successful ball python or snake breeders have other things going on too. That's not their sole income, because just like you said, if that is your sole income, that puts that much pressure on. And the truth of the matter is, it's a very volatile market, you know, so you can't really do that. And it's not the same as days of old, you know, like I said, what we lived through was amazing time that unfortunately, if you weren't there and didn't experience it, you'll never experience it again. Like it was very cool. We're very fortunate to see from the very beginning to what it became. And now it's evolving into something else that's awesome too. But like, it'll never go back to what it was and you'll never experience it. That being said, you know, those opportunities just won't be there because of that. Like anything, right? You know, that's the way life goes.
Yeah, it's just the reality of things. You know, there's eras. That's why there's different eras, different things. And like, you know, it's not like you can't make good money off the reptiles. Like you can make a good source of income, but like you got to do, like there's other avenues that you have to take, especially nowadays with the social media platforms. And, you know,
there's so many different, yeah, so many other different avenues and levels, and it's a whole nother world, and it's totally different. And it's like I said, it's and maybe you can have success in different things, but it's all different. So that's why I laugh when people are like, "Oh, tell me what to do." I can't tell you what to do. You know, honestly, you know, part of it is luck and taking chances. Period. You know, anytime you do anything, you know.
It sucks because I'm kind of like, I don't know if I did this. I can't say I've never done it, but I'm sure I've done it once. But I shunned away from doing it ever again. But I can't stand when people send me a picture of a snake and say, "What would you pair to this?" I don't fucking know, dude. What do you?
Dude, it happens every day. Poor Beth. Like,
what I always do.
Shit all the time. What is my morph? Well, let me tell you, your morph is a normal ball python.
Yeah. What do you?
That's 90% of them.
Yeah.
But no, and you know what we do? We just like we'll go to World of Ball Pythons, put in the calculator, and decide what you want to make. Like I don't know, I can't decide for you.
Grab a pen, grab a paper, write your goals down.
Right.
Write your goals. Fuck.
What do you like? Because that's the truth, right? What I like and what I